Okay. Now, our last lesson is a big one. 고 싶다. Okay, we'll keep going with 고 싶다, but this is quite a big lesson because there's a lot of things to cover about 고 싶다. Okay. All right. 고 싶다 is used to talk about things you want to do. Things you want to do. Uses the grammar form 고 싶다, and it attaches to verbs. Action verbs specifically. The example sentence we have is 저는 여행하고 싶어요. 여행 is to travel, so this means I want to travel. This is the book Conversational Korean Grammar. And do these books quiz you? Yes, the newest edition of the book does have some practice exercises in it, and then the answers are upside down at the bottom of the page. Not every chapter has practice exercises, but a good amount of them do have little quizzes, little questions for you to answer and fill out for yourself. This is an older version of the book. This one doesn't have them in it, but the current version, the one available now, does. Okay. So, hello, I'm glad you found us too. So you attach 고 싶다 to the verb stem of action verbs to say that you want to do that verb. And a note, we're going to talk about this a little bit more in the future, but 고 싶다 is only used to talk about things you personally want to do. If you want to talk about things that other people want to do, you have to change the grammar form slightly to 고 싶어 하다. So you have to do a slight variation on the grammar form to talk about the desires and wants of other people. 고 싶다 is only used to talk about yourself, your own personal wants and desires. Okay. So in the different conjugations, you've got a little conjugation table here. The base grammar form is 고 싶다. In present tense, it becomes 고 싶어요. Past tense, it's 고 싶었어요. And future tense is 고 싶을 거예요. So these are the different tense conjugations of the grammar form 고 싶다. Let's attach it to some verbs. Okay, so we have the verb 읽다 means to read. 읽다. So when you attach 고 싶다, it becomes 읽고 싶다. 읽고 싶다. I want to read, or to have some subject want to read. Now we have 듣다. 듣다 becomes 듣고 싶다, to want to listen. 만들다. 만들다 means to make. So it becomes 만들고 싶다, means to want to make. These are all the base forms, so to change into different tenses, you would change the ending to one of these ones above. And this last sentence, you guys have a go. How would you conjugate 만나다? How would you attach 고 싶다 to it? What would that become in Korean? 만나다, to meet someone, plus 고 싶다. What would that become? Have a go at attaching 고 싶다 to the verb 만나다. I'm sure someone can do it. 만나고 싶다. Yeah. Never test. Perfect. 만나고 싶다. To want to meet. 만나고 싶다. Amazing. Good job. Okay, so let's look at some complete sentences that have been conjugated into their tenses with their politeness levels. So the first sentence we have is 저는 책을 읽고 싶어요. 책 is a book, and 읽다 is from the first one, to want to read. So 저는 책을 읽고 싶어요 means I want to read a book. we have the object particle because 읽다 is an action verb, to read. So to read a book is 책을 읽어요, reading a book. 책을 읽고 싶어요 is to want to read a book. 저는 책을 읽고 싶어요. I want to read a book. What about this next sentence? 저는 음악을 듣고 싶어요. What does this mean in English? The grammar takes some nouns here. 음악, you might know what 음악 is, and then 듣다, which we had up here. So what does 저는 음악을 듣고 싶어요 mean in English? Anyone can figure that out. 저는 음악을 듣고 싶어요. I want to listen to music. Yeah, amazing. Thank you, Nivetes. I want to listen to music. Okay, the next one. 피자를 만들고 싶어요. Pizza is pizza, and 만들다, thank you, Loisari, as well, and bacon, amazing. Good job. 피자를 만들고 싶어. Oh, this actually uses the past tense form. 피자를 만들고 싶었어요. So yeah, Make Me Famous has it perfectly. I wanted, past tense, to make a pizza. Careful of this past tense form. Nevertheless has it as well. And Space Goat, yeah. I wanted, in the past, to make pizza. All right. And this last sentence as well. 친구를 만나고 싶어요. 친구를 만나고 싶어요. What does this mean in English? I wanted to meet my friends. Oh, there's no past tense. Careful. Very close. So close. This is just present tense. I want to meet my friend. Actually, the text is probably quite small. I'm not sure how easily you can read it. But this is just present tense. 친구를 만나고 싶어요. I want to meet my friends. Loisari. Amazing. Good job. This is Conversational Korean Grammar. Okay. Quick note. Koshipta is not able to be attached to descriptive verbs without attaching a different grammar form, 아어지다, in between. So if you want to say something like, I want to be tall, or I want to be smart, or I want to be beautiful, anything like that, you can't use koshipta by itself. You have to attach an intermediate form in the middle, this 아어지다 form. Now, we haven't covered this form yet. There's a reference page here to check it if you want. But it's similar to how you can't say, I want smart, or I want too smart, or I want tall, or I want too tall. You can't say that in English, right? It's the same thing in Korean. You can't use koshipta by itself. There's a little bit in the middle. You have to say, I want to get smart, or I want to become smart. Those sorts of things. So that's why you need a different grammar form in the middle. So without knowing this grammar form, be sure that you only use koshipta for action verbs, things like eating, drinking, talking, traveling, those sorts of things. If you want to use a descriptive verb, you have to learn this grammar form as well. Okay? What about nouns? So you can use koshipta with nouns, but in order to do so, you didn't know that? Yeah, you're welcome. It's a little trick. So if you want us to talk about nouns, usually you're talking about becoming some noun. If you want to say you want to become a doctor or a teacher or a father, something like that. So this uses this little form here. 이카 is the subject particle. 이카. 되다. This comes from the verb 되다. Now, 되다, let me turn this over. This is getting a bit messy. 되다 is used in a bunch of different ways in Korean. One of the ways it's used is to talk about becoming things. So when you use it in this form, it's talking about becoming some noun. 이가 되고 싶다. This goes away and you add 고 싶다 and it means to become, to want to become. Let's look at some examples. 선생님. 선생님 is teacher. So if you want to say, my pronunciation is not perfect, I apologize. I'm not a native speaker. 선생님, if you want to say you want to become a teacher, you would say 선생님이 되고 싶어요 or 되고 싶다. To want to become a teacher. 선생님이 되고 싶어요. 저는 선생님이 되고 싶어요. I want to become a teacher. Or 의사 is doctor. So 의사가 되고 싶다. To want to become a doctor. Okay? Some complete examples. 저는 선생님이 되고 싶어요. I want to become a teacher. 저는 의사가 되고 싶어요. I want to become a doctor. This next one, 부자. 부자 is a rich person. So if you want to say that you want to become rich in Korean, you would use 부자 to become a 부자, a rich person. 저는 부자가 되고 싶어요. I want to become rich. I want to be a rich person. 4 a.m. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. And the last one, 저는 모델이 되고 싶어요. I want to become a model. Okay. Yeah, I am not a native speaker. I do lives twice a week, so Wednesdays and Saturdays right now is the plan. Okay, so another note. There is an idiom that uses 고 싶다, and it means to miss somebody. So when you want to say that you miss somebody, you can use 이가 the subject particle, 보고 싶다. Also a note about the pronunciation. I'm not perfect with my pronunciation. I'm not a native speaker. But if you do get this book, we do have audio recordings recorded by native speakers for all of these example sentences. So you can listen to their pronunciation and you can shadow them and follow them as well. EST, I go live at, this one was at 5:30 p.m. Central Eastern Time. I don't know what that is in your time zone, but yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. Okay, so to miss somebody. Let's look at some examples of saying this. You're very welcome. Thank you guys for being here. 엄마가 보고 싶어요. So this uses this idiom form. 엄마 is your mother, your mom, your mum, if you're British. 엄마가 보고 싶어요. I miss my mom. 엄마가 보고 싶어요. It's kind of like I want to see my mom, but it doesn't use the little object particle like 보다 usually does. Usually 보다 uses the little object particle. 저는 요리가 되고 싶어요. Almost right? Because 요리 is cooking. You want to say 요리사 is chef. So 저는 요리사가 되고 싶어요 is I want to become a chef. So they're so close. We only have a few minutes left, hopefully. I'll try and go quickly through the rest of this chapter. Look at a couple more examples for this idiom. 제 친구가 보고 싶어요. I miss my friend. My 제 친구 is my friend, and I miss them. 제 친구가 보고 싶어요. 우리 강아지가 보고 싶어요. I miss our dog. 우리 is our. 저는 형이 보고 싶어요. I miss my older brother. Now, 형 is only used if you are a man. So if you're a man, you can say 저는 형이 보고 싶어요. I miss my older brother. And the last one is just to contrast this with the usual form of 보고 싶다, which means to want to watch. So 영화를 보고 싶어요 means I want to watch a movie. This doesn't have this idiom of miss because it uses the object particle. instead of the subject particle. Okay. And also, another note. Sorry, why is it ka for this again? It's just one of those special exceptions. It's technically an idiom in Korean that you use the ika subject particle. And it's only when you're doing this specific form about missing people. If you want to say, I want to watch a drama, I want to watch a movie, you would always use the object particle. Yeah. And I don't know why that is the case. It's just kind of 엄마 보고 싶어. Yeah, perfect. You miss your mom. That's in casual language. 엄마 보고 싶어. I miss my mom. Now, another note. 우리 가족이 보고 싶어요. Yeah, you miss your family. Perfect. Yeah, good job. And you even use 우리 too. Good job. Yeah, perfect. Now, another note. This 보고 싶다 is only used for living things. So in English, we can use to miss for really anything. But in Korean, this form is really only used for living things like people, animals even. But if you want to say that you miss some object, some inanimate thing, you use the verb 그립다, which is a biup irregular verb. And in present tense, it becomes 그리워요. 그리워요. So if you want to say like 한국이 그리워요. I miss Korea, for example. 한국이 그리워요. I miss Korea. Or 여름이 그리워요. I miss summer, for example. So if you want to say that you miss a physical object, you would use the verb 그립다, not 보고 싶다. This is only used for people generally. Okay? If you want to talk about things that you don't want to do, if I say 엄마 보고 싶어, it means I miss her, my mom. But if I say 엄마를 보고 싶어, would mean I want to see my mom. Yeah, or like I want to watch my mom, I suppose. Can I use 그립다 with people too? Yes. You can use 그립다 with people as well. You can say 엄마가 그리워요. I miss my mom. Yeah, you can say that. Yeah. And obviously, if you say 한국이 보고 싶어요, everyone will understand you. It's just not that natural. Generally, this 보고 싶다 thing is only used with people. A-cup markers depend on the last letter of the word. Yes, correct. So if the last sound in the word is a consonant, you attach E, so sa, ram, E, versus, I don't know, meri, ka. So saram ends on a consonant sound, so you attach E. Meri ends on a vowel sound, so you attach ka. This duality exists in a lot of places in Korean. And it's determined by these things that are called 받침. This final consonant is called a 받침, and they play a lot of roles in Korean grammar. 저는 엄마하고 아빠 보고 싶어. Oh, amazing. Yeah, you miss your mom and your dad. Yeah, you're welcome. Okay. Yeah, to talk about things that you don't want to do. There are two ways you can do it. You can either use 쉽지 않다, or you can use 안. I would never think of a non-Koreans making a Korean book. Yeah, it's interesting. Whenever you're learning a language, there's always two halves to things. There's always your native language, and there's always the language that you're learning. And sometimes it helps to have someone that knows how you think explain things when you're learning a foreign language, because your native language does come with a lot of biases. Sometimes it's nice to have that. Go Billy Korean also has a good book in Korean. He's another non-native speaker. His books are very good as well. Okay, so this is using the G 안타 grammar form. 수학을 공부하고 싶지 않아요. 수학 is math. So this is saying I don't want to study math because we're using the G 안타 form. 수학을 공부하고 싶지 않아요. I don't want to study math. 운동하고 싶지 않아요. I don't want to exercise. And the last one is 김치를 먹고 싶지 않아요. I don't want to eat kimchi. This book is called Conversational Korean Grammar. Okay. Yeah, and there are people here that actually don't have English as a first language. And I sympathize because I feel like all of the resources out there for teaching Korean, are mostly done by English speakers. English and Korean is by far the most prevalent. And if you're a native Spanish speaker or a native, any other Italian speaker or something, there's not that many resources out there. I do hope more people start making books in your native language that you can use as well, because that'll help you out a lot. All right. Now you can also use an. So jianta and an we covered in previous live streams. If you want to refresh how an and jianta work, you can check out the YouTube videos for the previous live streams. But it's also used to negate verbs. An is just used in a slightly different way. 대학교 때 수학을 별로 공부하고 싶지 않았어요. Yeah, I can agree with that. She's saying that in university, she didn't really want to study math. I actually have a degree in statistics, funnily enough. As an Italian, I totally confirm this, but thankfully I'm fluent in English. Yeah, if you speak English as well, that really helps. But it'd be so nice, right, to have resources written in Italian to help explain Korean. It would be nice. Maybe one day there'll be more resources available for you. But if you're fluent in English, maybe it's no problem at all. Maybe you're quite happy to have books with Korean and English. What part am I teaching? Oh, yes, sorry, teaching. Okay. 영어. Okay, this first example sentence says 영어를 공부 안 하고 싶어요. So this uses 안 to say that you don't want to study English. We are learning about 고 싶다 right now. Okay, because it has to go in the middle of separable 하다 verbs. Now, if you need a refresher on what separable 하다 verbs, they are 하다 verbs that are combined of a noun plus 하다. So 공부하다 is a separable 하다 verb because it combines 공부, which is the noun meaning study, with 하다 meaning to do. And when you use 안, it has to go between 공부 and 하다. So 영어를 공부 안 하고 싶어요 means I don't want to study English. If you say 영어를 안 하고 싶어요, everyone will understand you. It's understandable, perfectly fine, but it's just not as natural as 영어를 공부 안 하고 싶어요. So be careful of separable 하다 verbs when you are conjugating using 안. This is not the case with 지않다 in the previous sentences because 지않다 just attaches to the verb stem. But if you're using 안, you have to be careful of separable 하다 verbs. Similarly with the next example sentence, 집에서 운동 안 하고 싶어요. 집에서 means in my house. 운동 is exercise. So she's saying that in my house, I don't want to exercise, or I don't want to exercise at home. 집에서 운동 안 하고 싶어요. Okay, what about this last sentence? 가지를 안 먹고 싶어요. Oh, that's a tricky one because people might not know what 가지 is. 저는 스페인어, 스페인어. Spain is the country Spain. You attach o to the end to make it the language. So 스페인어 안 공부해요. Yeah. 스페인어 안 공부해요 means you don't study Spanish. 저는 일본어 공부 안 해요. I don't study Japanese, for example. But 가지 means eggplant. So 가지를 close. 같이 means together. 가지 means eggplant. So this sentence means I don't want to eat eggplant. It's a good guess though. Very good guess. Gaji also means branches, but from context, they're probably not saying I don't want to eat branches. 가지 means eggplant. Okay, and the final note, talking about things other people want to do. So remember at the very beginning I said that 고 싶다 is only used for things that you want to do personally. If you want to talk about the wants of other people, you have to use 고 싶어 하다. So you just take 고 싶다 and take off the 다 and add 어 하다 to the end, 고 싶어 하다. And in the present tense, it becomes 싶어 해요. 고 싶어 해요. So, for example, this first sentence says, 아빠가 요리하고 싶어 해요. 아빠 is dad or father. My dad, and 요리 means to cook. So this sentence says, my dad wants to cook. 요리 is to cook. Yeah, perfect. Once upon a Kiwi. 아빠가 요리하고 싶어 해요. Dad wants to cook. What about this next sentence? 엄마가 운동하고 싶어 해요. What does this mean in English? 엄마가 엄마가 운동하고 싶어 해요. Mom wants to exercise. Yeah, thank you, World of Imitaf. Once upon a Kiwi, Mom wants to work out. Yeah, perfect. Bipolar mind games, Mom wants to exercise. You can use either one in English. Workout or exercise, both are perfectly fine. 엄마가 운동하고 싶어 해요. My mom wants to exercise. She wants to work out. What about this next one? 형이 의사가 되고 싶어 해요. 형이 의사가 되고 싶어 해요. So this uses the 가 되다 form. 가 되고 싶어 해요. Big bro wants to be a doctor. Yes, correct. My older brother wants to become a doctor. Now this is only used if you are a man. If you are a woman, AFAT has it as well. BTS on me has it as well. Perfect. If you're a woman, you would say 오빠가 의사가 되고 싶어 해요. My older brother wants to become a doctor. Depending on if you identify as a man or a woman, determines what name you call other men and women in Korean. And the last sentence here, 언니가 가수가 되고 싶어 하지 않아요. Here we've combined all different things together that we've learned in this chapter. This is kind of a culminating moment. If we can, the Mimishin has it. Older sister doesn't want to become a singer. Perfect. You're on it. Good job. So Kasu is a singer, and she's saying she does not want to become a singer. Yeah, Space Goat's got it as well. Valerius has it as well. Perfect. And this onni is only used if you're a woman. If you are a man, you would say 누나가. Nuna is the term for men referring to older women. 누나가 가수가 되고 싶어 하지 않아요. Okay. That brings us to the end of 고 싶다.